Hello, 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 welcome to Talking Bollocks. Yes, it is yet another episode of the most bollocks podcast in the world of metal, Talking Bollocks. Hello, I am your host, Howard H. Smith. I host this here podcast. I also host the official Motorhead podcast, The Motorcast. Go and have a listen to that as well if you want. Or if you're coming from the Motorhead podcast, hello, welcome, nice to see you. This is a bit swearier than the Motorcast, so you might not want to play this through speakers at work. That's if you're able to get out the house and allowed to go to work. Hey, strange times. I'm also lead singer in UK thrash band Acid Rain. This year was supposed to be our busiest year to date, touring our first album for 29 years. Instead, we are not even going to see each other, not even going to be in the same room as each other. Well, what a strange year that is. I also do stand-up comedy. I used to before it became illegal as character Keith Platt. You can find Keith Platt at keithplatt.co.uk. Does anyone use websites anymore? And also on all the relevant social media platforms. And that reminds me, for about the third podcast that I haven't remembered to do this, I am on Instagram. Talking Bollocks is on Instagram. It's just Talking Bollocks, all one word, and instead of an S on the end, it's a Z on the end. So instagram.com/. Who the hell would search that? Just go onto Instagram, put in Talking Bollocks with a Z on the end instead of an S, and give us a follow. Cheers. That's all the housekeeping. Well, nearly. There's also patreon.com/Howard H. Smith. $5 a month. You get this podcast early. You get your own podcast where your own questions are asked of guests, and it's brill, and we do a live sort of podcast Zoom thing once a month. There's also a radio show in there that you get, Radio Bollocks. So, loads of stuff there, and it's all good. It's all good. Anyway, look, that's enough about me and social media. That's taken 2 minutes. My apologies. Let's crack on with what the hell has been going on in metal since the last we spoke. Well, Mr. D. Schneider has been a bit of a favourite of mine, as you all know. He's been going to court because he's got an ongoing battle against an Australian politician for use of "We're not going to take it," and he told them to stop using it, so they stopped using it. But this Australian politician rewrote the lyrics to fit his political ends, and just carried on doing the song. So now they're in court, and the whole thing is absolutely fucking laughable. It really is. And that's it. That's all there is to tell you about that. It's just a little story that's doing the rounds. That if you miss it, you missed it. So there you go. You didn't miss it because I covered it for you. Now, I am in a thrash band that's just brought back a comeback album, and it, thankfully, it's gone down really, really well. Now, I've set myself up there, haven't I? Really. There's a song available at the moment called "The Devil's Greatest Trick." Straight away off the bat, for me, I'm like, right, okay, so someone has seen The Usual Suspects, where the ancient old phrase, "the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing people he doesn't exist." Yes, yeah. I mean, real ham, that is, okay? And it's a comeback single by Agent Steel. Now, remember them, Agent Steel? If you do, great. If you don't, in my humble opinion, you're not missing anything. But the comeback single... to say and I am a vocalist, okay, so to say the vocals are odd would be an understatement. There are all sorts of weird effects, and you can go and find it on YouTube, and have a listen. All I want to say, because I haven't heard the whole album, so I don't know if this song is contextual or not, but all I can say is some very strange choices have been made there. I mean, just mad, just completely mad and insane. I mean, you literally listen to it and you're just thinking, what were you thinking? Is what you're thinking. Really, really, really odd. So anyway, get a listen to that. Slightly more mainstream would be Rob Halford says that his metal god, the guy that he gravitates to when people are talking about legends in metals or rock gods, his is Ronnie James Dio. How class is that? He says, I can't remember exactly when I heard Ronnie's voice, but I know that the first time I did hear it, it was just like an electric shock, a bolt of lightning, because this voice had so much power, so much character, so much energy, so much of everything that makes a great singer. So from that moment on, I was a huge Ronnie Dio fan. I followed his career from pretty much when he first came to be known throughout the world of rock and roll. The greatest things he did with Elf, and then of course with Rainbow and Black Sabbath and Heaven and Hell. What a great legacy Ronnie's left. It's all about the voice. Even now, I always blast some Ronnie before I go out on stage because he psychs me up. He gives me the essence of what a great singing performance should be. I just love listening to the man. Not only his voice, of course, but also his great work in helping other people. If ever a man was a rock god, for me, it will always be Ronnie James Dio. How cool is that? I mean, that's just a beautiful, that's just a beautiful epitaph, a beautiful tribute. Absolutely. And I know sometimes I'm looking for news stories that, you know, I've got a particular piss take on, and sometimes that's what you guys are listening for. Not in this case. It's just I just read that and it really struck home for me, because as a young guy, well, the very first song, what the band that first came together that would go on to be Acid Rain, the very first song that we sang, and I know I've said this loads of times, very first song we played was Hungry for Heaven by Dio, and Dio was very much in my formative years. And he said informative years. That's weird. In my formative years, Ronnie was a big influence, and I just think, to hear Rob Halford talking about him like that just sums up what a legend the guy was. So from absolute legends to another band of absolute legends, and they will go down as a legendary band. But I stopped caring some time ago. No, it's not System of a Down, but it's the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, does anyone care really? I mean, everybody. I'm pretty sure most people listening to this at some point in the 90s, you've had a Chili Peppers song stuck in your head. You've grabbed an album, you've thought about grabbing an album, you've downloaded an album, you've listened to it on YouTube, whatever. But I mean, they are kind of just everywhere. Or there was a time where they were everywhere, and now they're just kind of like the fabric of the music business, and they exist in their own little bubble, really. Their own world, and apparently they're splitting with long-time management Q Prime. Now, I don't know what that means, apart from that Blabbermouth have now started, basically, the whole article says, according to Daily Hits Double, and then it just says that there's a rumour that they've left their long-time management Q Prime, who are the same management as Metallica. And that's the only story, really, apart from the fact that they're, John Frusciante's back and they're still working on material. But again, every time I see a Red Hot Chili Peppers story, I just think, are they still going, are they? Oh, that'll be nice. I have absolutely no interest in their next release whatsoever. Not even with John Frusciante, which there was a time where I would have gone, oh, really? Oh, he's back. Oh, well, this next, nah. Not really. No, I mean, I'm about as interested in that as I am in the upcoming, talked about, mentioned Miley Cyrus Metallica covers album. That's right. If you haven't heard this story, you did hear that correctly. Miley Cyrus is apparently planning to do a Metallica covers album. Now, whenever I read stories like this, I just think, yeah, do you know what? This is one of those stories that it's never going to happen. Basically, what happens is, whether she has done this for publicity, or just not having a name out there enough during the pandemic, I don't know. But I mean, it's a good idea, because you say something like this and Miley Cyrus fans go mad and the pop world goes mad, and then the metal world picks up on it, and dickheads like me are talking about it on a podcast and giving the story oxygen that it doesn't need. So yeah, I've become what I hate. But I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm putting it out there right now, okay? Right now, I am saying that covers album is not going to happen ever. But we'll see. Okay, feel free to come back at me and tell and laugh at me when it does get made. But for the now, I'm going with no. Now, next up, a little bit. I was listening to the Jamie Jaster podcast, and I am a fan. Even when he is one of his latest adverts is for toilet roll, and yeah, I mean that's fair enough. I mean, and any North American listeners, the concept of buying toilet roll, through the post, and subscribing to a service that sends toilet roll through the post, for me, it's just a little weird. But there you go. That's fair enough. And there's a horrendous catch line for it about the brown eye and all the rest of it. And yeah. Anyway. It's got to be better than the Blue Chew knob pills, frankly. But anyway, I digress. His guest was Jesse Leach of Killswitch Engage. Now, as other people know him, the singer who isn't Howard Jones. Now, they were talking about the pandemic, and it mentions like, conspiracy theory, blah, and Jesse Leach said, look, all I'm going to say is this: I'm looking at all these bands who are all like anti-establishment, and I can't believe all these musicians and all these bands who are coming out and and telling people to wear masks and just believing everything that they're told. I mean, it's crazy, man. I just don't get it. And what he finished up with was, the media are lying to you, the government are lying to you, they're all lying, don't believe them, they're all greedy liars. Now, you see, I've ultimately, that it's such a nihilistic approach. If you're not willing to say, so if you don't believe them, what should you believe anyone? And then it's the whole route of, oh well, I've got my own trusted news sources, some fucking crackpot on YouTube or whatever. Now, I'm not going to have a go at Jesse Leach for whatever his beliefs may be, but saying things like that is just fucking stupid. Question everything. Yes, question everything without a doubt. But to just write off everything that the media and government tell you as lies, well, I just think that that's a kind of insane way to live. Not only that, but can we just look at that argument? It doesn't hold water, yeah? Greedy liars. Every single economy in the world is in the toilet right now, is going to hell. Billions and billions of pounds and dollars and yen and rand and euros has been lost. So greedy, I'm not sure how greedy fits in with losing billions and billions off every economy in the world. That doesn't carry water. It's very easy to take a stance of, oh, don't believe everything, don't believe anything. But you know what? Maybe you just need to do a little bit of research, and it's very easy, because next it's like, oh well, okay, so when you say don't believe the government, what about the scientific evidence presented by scientists? Because the government are presenting it, does that mean that you don't believe it? Whatever, fucking hell, eh? You get enough of this at home, don't you? You get enough of this on Facebook, all of the fucking crackpot ranting and all the rest of it. I'm just saying, it really fucking annoyed me that you decided to just wipe everything off the planet and just say, no, don't believe anything. Look, question everything, yes, but don't believe anything. That, I think that's just putting you way out on a limb, and that's yeah. I've never fucking liked Killswitch Engage anyway. I don't know why I'm getting so exercised by it, but it just really knocked me. Now, next story was this is a great one. This is classic as what's going on in the press at the moment. Was any band wrongly excluded from the big four of the 90s, 80s thrash metal? Anthrax's Scott Ian weighs in. I thought this would be interesting. Here's what Scott says. Well, I don't really understand that. Nobody was unrightfully put out of anything. Metallica didn't sit around and make a decision and say, these are the four bands that we're picking. It's not really how it worked. The Big Four was a title created by the press, calling these four bands as the Big Four bands of thrash. When when you say unrightfully put out, I have to say that I have a problem with that, because it makes it sound like Metallica purposefully excluded somebody, and the title Big Four has nothing to do with Metallica or any of us. That was a title given to us by the press, so it's kind of the same thing twice in two separate sentences. But ironically, that's it. That's the end of what he says. So, was any band wrongly excluded from the Big Four? And I said, well, that question isn't actually answered at all, because the question is completely rubbish, but that's fair enough. Fair enough. But that's the world we're living in at the moment. You know, I mean, basically, I went for it, didn't I? The old clickbait, absolutely, totally got sucked in. Thought, oh, great, read the story. Yeah, no story here. No story. It's a bit like when you watch, when you see a trailer and you think, oh, this movie looks good. And then you suddenly see a little, the small print come across the bottom, and it says, like, you know, this is not real gameplay. And you think, oh, fuck it, it's a game, not a film. Fucking bastard. I was getting into that. Unless, of course, you're a gamer. Well, you know, good for you. Should get out more, though. I jest, of course, I jest. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's gamers and all sorts of people listening to this, and not that gamers aren't people. And so, one thing I'd like to mention is the new album by a band called The Hell. Now, a lot of you may be aware of The Hell. I came across their recent album, Joris Part 1, a hardcore opera. And I have to say, one of the most unique, interesting and fun listens I have had in some time. It's got everything. It has actually got a story. It's got some great tunes. It's got a mixture of styles. I can't really begin to even scratch the surface of doing a decent job of explaining this to you. So what I would just say is, pop it into YouTube. Joris, you'll probably find it straight away. That's Joris. And yeah, I mean, it is just, I really, like I said, I think I summed it up pretty well earlier by saying, yeah, it's a fun, entertaining listen, and that might be do it a bit of a disservice, to be honest, because it's not a novelty record. I'm telling you guys to listen to it, and I really like it, and it's great. But for some reason, I'm choosing the wrong words. Anyway, look, you get the idea. My muddled brain is about to fucking crack, as I'm sure you figured out. Anyway, let's crack on, and let's get my good friend, and your good friend. We all like Paul, don't we, hey? We all like Paul Waller, Paul Podcast, whatever you want to call him. Paul Waller from OHHMS or OHHMS, or you want to call him Paul Podcast from the Different Times Podcast. We had a chat the other week. It was great fun to catch up, and here it is now.
Hello.
Oi, fella Milad, how are you?
I'm good. Oh, it works. I'm so good.
I will have already told the listeners about the failed attempt to do this before.
What failed attempt? What are you talking about?
When your phone packed up, your dongle and all the rest of it. Don't try and make out like you're not. You haven't been fucking around for weeks.
Mate, I've been waiting for you for a month just to sort your shit out. Come on.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, then I blew you out last week, and here we are.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear your voice.
And I'm glad to hear your voice as well, you steaming hunk of man flesh. And we're off.
Yeah, let's roll. Record.
Oh, we've been recording all of this, mate. It's just people love all this. But
do they? Who says that they do?
Seriously, people are always having talking about, oh yeah, it's like, it's cool how, you know, it's just like listening to a conversation, two blokes having a phone call. Honestly, I get millions of letters from listeners.
It's like in Blue Peter when they hand over the sack full of mail. That's every day for you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The Blue Peter sack of mail. I wonder where you were going with that one. You brought it back well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so you're on here as Paul, singer of OHHMS, but you're also here as sort of Paul. That's Paul Waller of OHHMS and Paul Podcast of Different Times Podcast. But let's let's get the band talked about first.
Cool.
New album. Played it loud with my patio door. I say patio door. It's the door out onto the balcony. So I've got like a big glass sort of patio door that opens out onto the balcony. And over lockdown, parakeets have appeared in the tree outside my balcony, and they've now started feeding on my balcony. And I was enjoying these delights during lockdown. The sun was out and all the rest of it, and I was playing your album, and everybody was getting along fine. And then one song started, I think it was song 7, and every single bit of wildlife just fucked off. It just fucking disappeared.
It's those brown notes. That's what it is.
Dude, honestly. So, and when it happened, I thought, I must tell Paul this. And to be honest, it was so long ago that it happened because of your phone fucking up. I can barely remember it now.
Look, you were the reason why I realised, I need a new phone. I've got that sorted. The dongle, there's no point going cheap because they're pretty cheap anyway. Yeah. So for years, I've been buying them shitty dongles. I have no idea when I could have just gone to the source, because we all love paying Apple for shit. But yeah, I'm glad about that. I'm glad. Well, I'm actually happy with the parakeets enjoying it up to track 7 anyway.
Well, I'm happy that I've been able to. I was able to flag up the fact that your phone doesn't work. Speaking of which, look, you must have done a shed load of press for the new album. Was it weird kind of doing it given the state of the world? It's
such a wonderful, because I was thinking today, right, what am I going to chat about? Because like the press cycle started and then instantly stopped, so it was weird. We finished a tour just before the lockdown, so I'm so sorry for hugging everyone, and probably when it was lockdown, it was just like people were thinking, oh God, did he give me goodness knows what? Because I literally hugging at the end of every show. You shake hands and you hug people and you're chatting. You can't hear, so you're shouting in people's ears. And I was waiting for those results, just saying, "Oh, please be okay." And luckily I was, but it was just such a weird thing when you sat down and thought about it. Just like anyone because we're playing tiny rooms, and like luckily for us, they were all packed on this tour, and. It was that in the air. Like no one actually was taking it very serious, but it was there. And then just a few weeks later, it was really serious, and it was on everyone's doorstep. The next thing was the lockdown, and it was a weird thing to go through. But with regards to the press, we got all the first sort of stuff out of the way, and then it was going to be a Kerrang thing that we had going on. And of course, the next thing you know, there was that message from Kerrang. Then they're not coming back, and it's one of those things that as a band I always loved Kerrang. Kerrang for me growing up was it. So as a fan, it was like, for instance, just reading about like the new Acid Rain, like that sort of thing. I've told you before, that sort of thing when you open the page and you've got Voivod on one page, you've got Acid Rain on the next page, you got this and this. And like, and then they would have all these ridiculous things like the hottest chicks of the year and all that. And even then, you'd be like, oh, it's creepy. But I would still have all this amazing stuff like to read. So I would cut it all out, and I've got all my cutouts still from those days. It was great. But getting in it, there's nothing like it. So I imagine for you, it's much the same as me. When you get in Kerrang, it's just. That's it. You're like,
I couldn't believe it, mate. Couldn't believe it. And I've got a scrapbook with every fucking Kerrang mentioned from the early part of our, from the early, right from the before we'd signed. So I've got rejection letters in it all the way through to the other end. Pictures of the final gig. But yeah, everything from Kerrang, you treasure it, don't you?
But yeah, that's it. So it meant a lot, and so we were booked in, ready to like do like just a quick chat. It might not have been a big article, but whatever, it was in there. And then it just went to pot. So that was just the the like sort of end of our press cycle, really. Or it could have been the beginning. Thankfully, we don't know how. We would talk about this at practice at the weekend. Is that we finally got all our finances through and things like that from the label, and it's our most successful record to date. So we're proper chuffed with that. But how that happens, don't know, because like the press has been like really, I don't know what the word is, not big.
Minimal. Minimal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I that can't be because you're not a great interview.
Oh, well, it might be. It might be. I don't know. They phoned me up and they who was this? Metal Hammer. So again, amazing. Just to have Metal Hammer call you, and it was like it was just for this little puff piece in the album sections. What have you been listening to recently, or something like that? And like I ended up chatting for like 25 minutes, and it was literally 3 lines that they took from that. It was just,
right.
Why? I must be so frustrating. So frustrating.
Well, I can say it's always a great pleasure to interview you and be interviewed by you. So, and although I've only got one thing to say about the new album. Actually, I haven't. Firstly, congratulations. It is a bit of a beast. It is a musical, a tasty musical broth of riffs.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that.
And
you're being sincere.
No, I am, mate. I would not have made up such a poncy term to take the piss. I'd have just said it's shit.
Okay.
But no, and you do a fine job of painting pictures with words over the top of it.
Yeah, it's really weird because I don't know how you guys write, but we write all the music first. And then sometimes the band won't even hear any vocals until it's finished mixing.
Right.
And so I know there's been a couple of tracks on previous albums where the band literally were pretty cross with me because it's not what they wanted. But from this album, it was just non-stop oh wow. So not to blow my own trumpet, but I think I did a pretty good job,
mate. If you don't blow your own trumpet, no one else will. So feel fucking free. Good for you. I'm pleased for you.
Yeah, cheers. It's so much work, and I can't do it until I've got everything in front of me because I feel like every album or every project, like EP or whatever that you approach, you've got to know it back to front before you can actually contribute the equivalent to it. Like they're so talented, it's quite frustrating that every time I have to go in and sort of pick up my game, which is nice, but I still got my own back on them because I'm sure you're aware. I think I've told you, but all those song titles were just Kiss songs or Kiss album titles and Kiss song titles.
Yeah.
Which they hate Kiss more than you. They hate it, and it just goes to show they don't know what they hate because they had no idea what I was doing.
Wow. Well,
the fools.
Do you know what I was gonna? I love this. You've just delivered your best performance. The band has never been happier, and you still managed to rub their noses in it by revealing, unbeknownst to them, that you've been doing a whole Kiss promotional fucking tour. You bastard, honestly.
I hate Kiss as well, so...
yeah, but you used to love them. You used to love it. You see, your hate doesn't count. My hate is pure. It's been hate from day one. You're just a spurned lover. At one point or another, you liked that fucking shit.
It was my life. It was my whole life. I still got a Kiss tattoo on my arm, and when bands
lose the arm, mate. Just lose the arm.
Hack it off.
Yeah. Can you? What do you mean a cover-up job? No. Fucking lose the arm.
No. Although when the photos come through, I remember there was one again. Just to mention Kerrang, it was in Kerrang, and you could see the bottom of the tattoo, which said the very bottom of Kiss and then Army, and it was just how embarrassing.
Kiss Army, brilliant. You may as well have fucking the Mickey Mouse Club tattooed on your other arm.
Dude, I've got Mickey Mouse tattooed on my leg. Walt Disney World, 1976 or some shit on my leg. So,
fucking hell. Dear me.
Do you know what? Our bassist has got Charles Manson on his arm, and we had such a big furore on Facebook Messenger about that with some person that took such offence at it. You wouldn't believe. And like half the stuff they were saying, I was like, yeah, you're totally right. Our bass player's a knobhead. So yeah, totally weird. Be careful what you get tattooed on yourself.
Yeah, well, I will in future. I'll take your advice for that. So, what arm is your Kiss Army tattoo on?
It's on my left arm, but as you're looking, on the right.
Yeah. Okay, so it's on your left arm. And are you right or left-handed?
Right.
So you don't need the left arm, do you?
It's not needed, mate. You're right. It's access to requirements.
Mate, I'll tell you what. You want to lose weight? That is one easy way to do it.
Done. You'll feel guilty, but I'll do it.
Yeah. What do you reckon? You probably drop a stone. Yeah. The weird things. Yeah. Chop your arm off. I've dropped a stone, but I'm still a waist. My waist is still 32. I don't get it.
Look, it represents a fantastic time of my life.
Yes,
when everything was shit, Kiss were there.
That's cool, mate. That's cool, and you know, it obviously stems from you've got a very early love of Kiss. God, let's get off Kiss, bloody hell! So
no, keep it going.
No. So did you
love it?
Did you? They don't. And if anyone from your band is listening, I want them to be on my side.
No, they most definitely would be.
Well, so when did you spring the ha they're all Kiss titles surprise on them?
Oh, band practice. So we were really recently, in fact. So we were playing this festival this year that didn't happen. So we did one of those like in studio live sets sort of thing for it, Arctangent Festival, and the practice that we did for that, I just came out with it in practice, and the blank looks on their faces, it was like they'd been duped, and I could tell that they were not just cross, they were a bit furious, but you know, what can you do? I've got to get my kicks somehow. Yeah, that's all I could say.
Well,
I've got to get it somehow.
Well, when you say they look like they'd been duped, I think that's because they had been duped.
Yeah, but you know that look when you're not sure that someone's being serious, and then it hits you like a ton of bricks, like a ton of Kiss. That's what happened. But I've made myself out to be a bit of an arsehole, and I guess that's right. In this situation, I was. But you know, as I say, it's those little things, and it's sort of because the reason why I sort of said it, and I think I've got away with it, is because the close itself, or close, whatever you want to call it, it's just an autobiography of my sort of youth to where I am now. So it's just that's the reason for it. Simple as that. Yeah.
So it sounds like a very personal release.
Yeah, definitely was. It's just all about that childhood and the rough and the smooth, and also this is the weirdest thing, and I'm going to ask you about it. And it's I've not got much in my notes here, but I want to ask you about religion, just for a second. Mm-hmm. So, as growing up, I wasn't a religious family at all, but I knew it was important, really young age. I knew how important, God, Jesus, all those sort of words were, the weight behind them. And there was an instant where I couldn't get the phrase, I hate Jesus, out of my head. And for many a year, whenever it would pop into my head, I couldn't get rid of it. And I just thought, I'm going to be punished for this. I'm going to be punished for this. And as soon as it was in there, I couldn't get rid of it. So I thought, that's a weird subject to write a song about. So I did. But it's one of those things, I don't know if anything like that pops into anyone else. like if anyone else has had that experience with something like weighty like that, when you're not sure, when you're not old enough to realise what things are. And it scared me for years and years and years, just that phrase, I hate Jesus. Weird.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Weird. I can't say I've had any experiences like that. But hey, there's lots of human experiences. Well, no, there's lots of things I haven't experienced, but I'm not in your head. And it sounds like, yeah. So, how do you even begin to start writing about something like that?
I don't know. I think everyone's got these little experiences of when they're growing up that are maybe different from someone else's, and then also similar things that everyone can relate to. And I just thought, because these songs are shorter, because like each one is about a different experience of my life. For instance, just like the first one, Alive, is just my earliest memories of being born, and like when did I first get a memory, and I just realised, well, I don't remember anything up to 5. So like that's like a lot of people like, I can remember like trying to walk and something like that. Nothing for me, like 5. So it's just like, what happened in that age? It's weird.
But now you see, I'm the same. It always does my head. Whenever, I'll be honest with you, whenever I hear someone say, "Oh yeah, I remember like trying to walk," or I just think, yeah, fuck off. No, you don't.
So what happened in them years?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, something so hideous happened to us both that we've blanked it out.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, I got into Kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yes, your poor little spongy baby brain was being infected with Kiss from an early age.
One of my first memories, I lived in Australia and got these massive ants. I called them buller ants, but that's not what they're called. I think I got the name wrong. I can't remember. Maybe they're just called bull ants. I don't know. But they got these massive pinchers, and I remember trying to pick one up and make it pinch me. And I didn't do that again. Let me tell you that. But that's it. That's my
I bet you didn't have to try too hard, did you?
No. It's, as I say, you remember that.
Yeah, it's kind of what they do, really, isn't it?
I just remember sitting by a tree, thinking, "Oh, look, there you go." So my first memory. Yeah.
How long were you in Australia for?
Till I was 9. Let me think. Yeah, till I was 9, and like that, the very final year, everything was Kiss. So as a child, it was Australia. Kiss had just done their first tour of Australia, and they were all over the telly. It was the equivalent, so I've been told, of when the Beatles hit America.
Right.
So it was just everywhere.
Who told you that? It wouldn't be Gene Simmons, would it?
In fact, it was. No, I've seen the footage, and it's remarkable, some of the similarities. But I just remember it being everywhere. Like, you go into a sweet shop and there'd be Kiss stuff. You go into a supermarket, there'd be Kiss stuff. Toy shops, well, as a kid, that's where I hung out. But it all changed. We immigrated to a place called Hollingbourne in Kent, near Maidstone, so around there. And
can I just say that sounds really depressing, because when someone says, "Oh yeah, we emigrated to Australia," straight away you just go, "Wow!" But when you use the word emigrated and then to Sittingbourne in Kent,
mate, it was like that. But because it was so depressing, we moved into my nan's house that used to be an old hospital, World War II, sort of makeshift hospital, and like. It was as depressing as that sounds. So I discovered music, and like there was thinking like John Menzies and Woolies, or wherever you go, there's these second-hand single bins.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like, I was off to the races with music.
Yeah.
It took 4 years to discover rock and metal and things like that, but it wasn't long, and I was really young, like with my rock and metal as well. So yeah, it just shows you. It just took that bit of bleakness to like, right, what can I get myself stuck into?
So you got the rock and metal. At what point did you think, oh God, what am I doing liking Kiss?
I didn't even think Kiss were rock or metal. I just thought
Totally agree. Totally agree.
I thought they were just a kids thing.
Totally agree.
Okay, now I'm just trying to think how I can get out of that, but I really can't. But yeah, it was like things. What was I into before like thrash? I would say things like Crew. Like there was a bit of Crew that I got into. There was what was a big thing that around the UK that was pretty depressing? Magnum. Like that's. I was choosing all these things, and I was like, I don't like that. I like this. I don't like that. I like this. And gradually, like I realised that what I did like was this Metallica, this Anthrax, this Megadeth stuff.
Right.
And yeah, so it just took that time. There was like this transition period where where you're just searching, you're clawing your way through different sorts of music, and that was it, man. Right. Did you have an easier access to music once you were over in the UK? So it was like, I mean, do you think you'd have been as easy to get hold of all of that stuff in Australia at the time, bearing in mind, when we're talking about? Yeah, I think tape trading. I think I would have been all right. I think I would have discovered it because I did come in with the big four, and like they're easily accessible over there as well. It's all major.
Oh yeah, because you're a bit younger than me. I forget. So yes, of course. Well, you're quite a bit younger than me. So yeah, I'm like.
Well, I've just hit 46 now. Come on.
Right, Stone.
Oh,
hey!
Never fuck with a comedian. That's a rule.
Yeah, well, or a woman's rule is don't fuck a comedian. But okay, right. So yeah, we're close-ish then. We're close-ish. And so it's weird how your kind of your taste changes. You get you've got this huge kind of eclectic rock and metal thing going on. By the way, complete tangent. Have you seen Cobra Kai yet?
I started it and didn't complete it. I started it when it first came out.
Really?
But I didn't like Daniel LaRusso. I didn't like the switch.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He is a bit of a dick. The only reason I say it is that the more you watch it, the more great 80s fucking 80s metal that you hear. It's great. There's some use of some top like 80s metal in that. So if is anybody listening who's thinking of watching Cobra Kai, there's some cool 80s metal on the soundtrack.
But still, what's Daniel LaRusso's, without giving away the ending, does he come back to being like a cool guy?
Well, no, I think basically what it is you've come to it years later, and what's happened is that it's like, yeah, do you know what? Johnny tells the whole story from his point of view, and you think, bloody hell, he was right. And then you hear Daniel's story, and you think, well, he was right. And it's basically they're both just a couple of dicks. That's it. It's not any simpler than that. But we've kind of gone like completely off piste here, haven't we?
Yeah, sorry. The new album.
No. Yeah, it was. There's me dragging in Cobra Kai when we're supposed to be shifting units for you.
Well, let me tell you something about that. So, where the record label, I guess we should mention it. Our record label went tits up because of a sex scandal.
Yes. Well, you told me not to bring this up.
No, basically, I can't comment on the accusations because of the illegalities.
Okay, I understand, but are they guilty?
No, yeah. Well, yeah. So I couldn't possibly say.
Right.
But, regardless, you can't be around that. That's the thing with any band. You just can't be around it. So it's a tricky one. We saw bands leaving left, right, and centre. We didn't know how to handle it. It's not like one of us was Ian Watkins. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like the band that had this issue. So we were okay, but we're still associated with it. So again, another thing just to like chink that armour of the new record down. And it was such an awful thing. I was like, this Holy War label, I was this Christmas going to get a Holy War tattoo next to the Kiss tattoo, which, you know, would be nice.
Fucking hell, you definitely... Arm would have to go then. Still campaigning for that.
Mate, yeah, I love that label so much. It's the reason why I got into like hardcore again.
I know. Well, you wrote them a lovely letter. I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you know, it's in your blood, so you must be feeling pretty bloody awful.
Yeah, I was, and I still am. Like, there's nothing that can make me feel any different. I think I'm just going to have to live with it. But what I am really like happy about was the way that the other people that were involved in the label, so Justine, a couple of the other guys as well, they went out of their way they stayed with the label for another month just to make sure that all those bands, all their stock would be ending up going to the bands. So that she stayed on, she sorted us out, like got all our records back to us that we could then sell. We've done a sale on Bandcamp. We made more money out of that than we have done maybe since year one of being a band.
Wow.
Before we started to invest in it. So I just want to really massive thanks out to Justine just for sticking with it and helping all the bands out. I'm sure you spoke to the other bands on the label, they have a similar story, but absolutely incredible. And because we have been sort of out of things for a while, we didn't realise the fan base was there. And it really was there. As soon as we put that up, it was like, I don't know if you have your messages switched on, but I do. And it was a ding, 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 ding. It was mental. It was such a great day. So, yeah, thank you, everyone, for doing that.
That's awesome, man. That's really good to hear. And so it kind of brings one... Is it kind of like a one chapter of the band finishing, but another one starting on the basis that, you know, as you said, that you've realised a few things with this album, you know, and you've got the fan base, and you were packing out shows when we could do shows. So there is, you know, there's a bright future ahead.
I hope so. Like you never really know. It surprised us when we were filling out venues that the year before were like 3/4 full. So that would, like you, I don't know about you, I always go to a show, even if the tickets have sold through the roof, expecting 5 people to be there. I don't know. I just always feel like it's going to be shit. If you go with that attitude, just give it all you got, because there's only going to be 5 people there. And when there's a whole load of people there, you're still giving it all you got. You know what I mean? You're never off edge. So, yeah, I always go with that thing. Just think the worst, and then you're not going to be disappointed. That's spoken like a true pessimist. Too right.
The other way that is said is an optimist never gets a nice surprise.
Too right.
Fuck off. Oh dear. Well, look. So the other that kind of rounds things off nicely for us to schmooze on in to talking about Different Times podcast, because obviously that appears to be on hiatus at the moment. Is there any update on that?
So me and Dan, my life partner, man.
Yeah.
He invited me over to his house the other day. Let's put it out there. His partner, his wife, works for the NHS, so it's really tricky. We don't want to be spreading anything to each other or anything like that. So we tried it over the phone, and listening back, although it sounded okay, there was a spark was gone. Sometimes I just need to look at his face and I laugh.
So could you not do it on Zoom?
No, the recording sounds shit. You know, so it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
So we've made the decision. You can invite me over his house for a pizza, homemade pizza, might I add, in a oven that cooks in the outside of his garden. Oh,
I've seen it on Instagram. It's a mighty piece of kit.
Holy crap! It's the best pizza I've ever had, but don't tell him that.
Okay.
So
And well, he won't be listening to this, so don't worry.
Nah, of course not. But yeah, so we
love you, Dan.
Let's just fuck it and let's do it, and we'll just bubble ourselves. So basically, the only people that I ever see, I've asked work if I can just work from home, and they've been, yeah, cool, no problem at all. You can work from home going forward. So I've got the band in my bubble, my wife, and Dan now. So that'll be it. So he's coming over at the end of this month, and we're just going to start again. It's going to be less frequent because I make him do all the editing, and like it was ball ache trying to get it all done every week in time. But I've just, with the band management that I do, and with another podcast that I'm going to be getting into as well, it's just like going to take up all my spare time. But we can't wait to see each other. In all honesty, we've got a Pantera little bit to talk about, which just mean we'll kick off from the last podcast that we did, and a bunch of new albums that we've been listening to that we can't wait to get into. And I want to talk to you about them a little bit, if I may.
Well, if you may. Well, you've had so long away from the listeners. I'm sure some will be listening to this going, oh, cool, are we going to get a bit of kind of sort of different times podcast type music hints now?
Well, yeah, I think we are. I'm
good.
going to put this to you, because I'm going to put this to Dan, right? So I want to put this to you. Now, these are bands that I think you would have heard of, right? Napalm Death's new one.
I love everything about Napalm Death apart from the music.
No, what about the new one? It's a bit different. Have you given it a go?
It's just. I mean, I'll put it this way. Somebody said to me, for people who like Napalm Death, it's great, but it's not going to change anyone's opinion.
Interesting. I've got a Napalm Death friend, and they've said that when they stick to Napalm Death, it's lovely. Like it's just like a nice warm bath. But when they do that new stuff that they're doing, which is making it a bit weird, injecting a little bit of like Killing Joke into it, things like that, he's saying it's putting him off a little bit.
Right.
So
I've heard I've heard little bits and pieces, and I've heard there's different things at work. So I may have to go and investigate.
I would recommend just to give it a once over, because I think if you're like nonplussed with their normal output, this one's got a little bit more dynamics to it than previous, but nothing like when they had that, not quite new metal, but it was too new metal for Napalm Death period.
Right, I'm unaware, I'm afraid.
Oh, you'll love that. Right, next band, and you're going to love this one. Ready? Here we go. Drum roll.
Yeah.
Virus.
Oh, right. I haven't.
Virus.
I haven't. Do you know what? I haven't yet.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. But
give at least the Facebook a good.
I've heard
good study.
I've heard good things, and to be honest, I will listen to it, and it's just like, but it has to be sort of under my nose. Do you know what I mean? And of all of the places where I get music, I haven't seen it. If I had, I'd have downloaded it and listened to it by now. But it's not something that I'm, when I see it, I'll get it. I'm not going to go hunting for it. But I've heard good things. I've heard good things.
I consider Virus. They're a real weird one. Like I think they're like a real shit horror film that you love, because they are shit. There's no getting away from it. Like they're not very good, but. You at the end of listening to that album, like I'm just like, I just want to do that chorus one more time because it's so bad. It makes me smile and it's good and like I don't know. It's really strange. Like I remember when Pray for War came out, and like it was in our price. I don't know how that happened. In our price, I bought it. Seeing that band in Kerrang, like it's a flash band. They're from the UK, wicked. Put that on. And me and my friend, we just looked at each other and burst out laughing. Because what we were doing was as good as that, we thought. And yet now, I can sing you Pray for War. Like, so it goes to show you, it's just one of those things that I think they're just so bad, they're good. But that's me. Like, so there we go. But Yeah, so that's my opinion of that one. And I ridiculously listen to that more than I have tons of stuff I should be listening to.
Like I said, I will. You've rattled my cage, and I need to get my arse in gear and go and see it, and go and listen to it, and get Coke on the podcast as well, so we can have a proper fucking row.
100%. I've just heard so much lunacy about that guy. He would be a great guest.
He's a lovely guy. I mean, I've known him fucking it's over 30 years. And yeah, we've never had a cross word up until now, so we're not really till now either, because I just kind of.
Well, that's one of the things. Like the only place where I will come across that sort of let's just say honesty to the fans is when you reply to idiots and when Holy Raw replied to idiots. So
right.
Do you know, it's like sometimes you're so careful of the image that you want to present that you're not willing to be honest.
Yes.
And that it's a real fucker for me, because I want bands to be honest, because then you can see their personality. Like, even if it is like, oh, come on, like, I've told you twice, just read the last post. You know what I mean? Yeah,
yes.
It's one of those things. That's all you need to say, and you do.
Well, I think, but I've always gone with. And I mean, yeah, honesty is the best policy, yeah, whatever. But I've always gone with you can't criticise honesty. You can't accuse it of being disingenuous. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if somebody's being honest with you, no matter how abhorrent their honesty may be to you, ultimately the sentence always ends, well, at least they're being honest.
I'll tell you what, most of the time, people are so happy that you've just given them the time of day, like that you've actually spoken to them, rather than just ignored the question. But
I've insulted people on behalf of Acid Rain. I've insulted people on social media, on Twitter, and I've seen them retweet it, going, this is fucking hilarious. Check this out. It's like, made my day. Although you can make a bit of a rod for your own back, and you sometimes get people, who'll deliberately turn up to try and get a rise out of you, and luckily I can spot them now. But basically, if anybody comes on the Acid Rain page and starts asking if we're writing a new album or how's the new album coming along, I know someone is trying to wind me up. But other than that, it's...
Well, Acid Rain is in this unique, and it is a unique, for me anyway, with the bands I like, a unique situation where you've got this fan base that was with you at the beginning, and you've also got this new fan base that has only the modern concept of how a band communicates with their fans, rather than the old way it was. So things that you could definitely get away with back in the day, and things that you can't get away with today. You've got this cross, this really strange audience, which is must be really interesting for you. How do you handle those old schoolers, and you've got these new schoolers as well? It's got to be a weird one.
Well, funnily enough, the only time that really comes to light is when we ask people, is when we launch some merch, or we launch a tour or anything like that, and the not so and the sort of technophobes who have, because they're a little bit older and they've not really kept up to date, we start getting a shit ton of direct messages. How do I do this? How do I do that? I've clicked onto this, but I don't know what to do now. That's the main difference.
Yeah, I can see that. You're not that bloody old.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I actually had a direct message the other day, and the direct message, I'm not going to say the platform or what account, because that wouldn't be fair, but they direct messaged me to ask 2 questions. The post that they were referring to had all the information in that they asked, but it was on Instagram, and it had say link in bio. As everybody knows on Instagram, the only live link out of Instagram is on everybody's account biography. And I'd put put this image up and said like link in bio for further details, not in biro. That would have been weird. And they direct messaged me, and I was like, just seriously, and it's like, I cannot give in. I am not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no. I become all parenty. You have to learn. You will learn. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, you seriously just click that link and it's got all the information and more. But that's that I'm sure there'll be I'm sure there's plenty of bands who don't have the older fans that we do and the younger fans. I'm sure there's plenty of younger bands who've got people who are rubbish with technology as well. It's just the way it goes. I think our older fans, they just seem to be, rather than intolerant, they seem to be more tolerant. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of weird. They, in fact, do you know what? Tolerant or intolerant, they don't give a fuck. They really don't.
Why would you? Like, honestly, the internet is just it's the bane. Like, I have to. I think I'll be one of these people that just wouldn't go on it if it wasn't for like what I do as band manager or what I do as the guy in the band that sorts all that stuff out. I just don't think I'd bother.
Yeah.
Like I make more mistakes than they do. So I'm the person that like will post something for OHHMS and it will just appear on my own account, and I won't know until someone said, "Should you have posted that there?" And I've no idea. I'm happy I've done that. Right, that's all the work I need to do today. Oh, right, I fucked every single thing up. So, yeah, I'm one of those other people you're talking about, too old to not know anything about it. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I'm such a miserable internet git.
Really?
Yeah, I hate it. Right, and yet I am, like, with watching movies and things like that for that other podcast that I'm going to be doing, like, I will spend so much time just like making sure I can see all the titles of the movies on an Instagram post. I think, hang on, that was 40 minutes. What am I doing with my life? I just don't know what I'm doing.
Well, I know what you're doing. You're branching out from your band and your music podcast and doing a movie podcast. Wow, what a fucking brilliant idea.
Good, yeah. I don't know where I got that from. I'm an original.
I look forward to my my invitation on the show.
Yeah, you'll get one. You'll get one, and you'll get one soon. Yeah.
Oh right, okay, that sounds interesting.
More news coming up on that. I'm trying to get. It's really weird because it's an industry that I don't really work within. But I've got a lot of nice contacts here and there.
Yeah.
So, like, there is, because it's primarily horror, and there are some real big outlets for horror, just like any niche thing that you would be into.
Yeah.
When you actually look into it, it's not niche at all. These things are huge now. And so I'm trying to get, like, affiliated with one of them. So I'm going to do a couple of pilots and send them off and see how that goes. I tend to be pretty lucky that way, so hoping my luck holds out. But it's an exciting thing that I've got coming up. But as I say, first and foremost, I want to get back on track with different times with Daniel.
Well, if I can think of any contacts as well that might be useful, I'll let you know.
Yeah, man. Any like directors, actors, things like that.
That
sort of thing.
I will, and we've totally gone off on a tangent. Right, so Napalm Death, Virus, and
right. I want to recommend a band. So this band has been going on a long, long time, but they're still very much underground. Now, you might have heard them, you might not. They're a sludge band from New Orleans called 16.
No.
So there's a little hyphen, then a 1 and a 6 and a little hyphen, no gaps in between. So if you put that into your Google search or whatever, they should come up. They're on Relapse Records, which is like quite a decent big label as well, but for some reason they've never broken through, and I've always enjoyed them, but this new album is just that something else, something a little bit special. Took a couple of listens, but completely on board. So that's what we want to recommend to your listeners, if I may, that band called 16.
You have, and as host of this podcast, I don't know, the word sludge just makes me
it's more like Helmet.
Well, Helmet aren't sludge.
Yeah, if Helmet was sludge.
Oh, right, if Helmet was... Right, well, in that case, that could be interesting.
Could be, yeah, it could be. I mean, New Orleans is something that will often put me off straight away. It's just because of that swampy sound that you can get. It's weird how, like...
Do you mean... So New Orleans sounds like swamps and Florida sounds like death?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Am I wrong?
There was never a swamp core scene, was there?
There should have been.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Racing around on... Yeah, let's not go off on that tangent. So 16, that's a recommendation for... sorry, what's the new album called as well?
Oh, fuck knows.
Right,
third one down on Spotify that I listen to.
Oh, right, okay. It's that good, is it? It's that good that you don't fucking know the name of it. Okay. I really can't. And I can't take the piss about that because I forget many things during many podcasts. So
it's called, I've just looked out, Dream Squasher.
Dream Squasher?
Of course it is.
Of course. How could you forget that? I mean, that is the kind of title, I tell you, that'll squash your dreams, that title.
It will. Just honestly, stick it on random. There's no, like, standout. It's just all good. All good.
Yeah, but don't you think that's... I don't know, that bugs me when I get an album like that. Sometimes... I know it's going to sound stupid, but sometimes I like an album and it's where it's really fucking good, but there's one song that's just not up to scratch. Because it always makes me... It doesn't make me think, oh, bastard, that song, you know, if only that one was good as well. It makes me appreciate the other 9. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that both are good. I think, like, with records...
Yeah, no, what you're saying is 9 out of 10 is good, and 10 out of 10 is good. But which one's better? There's only one way to find out.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, there is nothing wrong with having a standout on an album, as long as the rest of the album is good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I often have rows in Levan when we used to tour in the olden days about this very thing. Like, what makes a good album? How dare you listen to Alice in Chains' Dirt on shuffle? What's wrong with you, Paul? Like, I can do what I like. Leave me alone. It's just how I want to listen to music. I get, but I guess that's fine. But I think if you, I don't know. I'm going back to my upbringing, and it's like musical upbringing, and I understand, and I know you understand the importance of a track listing, and that there's a lot of thought goes into it, and songs are positioned to flow. Also, especially if it's a concept album, probably don't want to be putting shuffle on. Probably.
This story's shit. He died in the first song, and he's back again already. What? But yeah, I'm always kind of aware of that, and it's like, it's a journey to be provided, and I guess we're straying now, into the topic of that, of the album that's got 10 good songs on it, and the album is good. But you're just kind of like, yeah, great. Sort of, so, for me, if an album is really, really up there, it demands to be listened to in the order that it's been recorded. If it's properly been put together, then it's a journey, and there's one route to be taken on that journey.
I think you're right, because I'm thinking 80s Slayer, and 80s Slayer, there was always a couple of standouts, and it always made me go back. And then before you know it, those songs that weren't the standouts are suddenly your go-tos.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's songs like Blood Red or Spirit in Black.
Mm-hmm,
you know,
exactly.
they don't jump out at you at first. It's all fucking Mr. Geen, and War Ensemble, and you're going like, oh wow, it's amazing. And then like after X amount of listens, you go, fucking hell, these songs are good as well.
Yeah, that's rare. You can't compare everyone to Slay though. That's a silly thing to say because like they're special. But yeah.
So
Good.
So yeah, good.
Good. That's making me think now. Like, oh yeah, the other band.
So well, that's great news. That's great news that you and Dan are getting back together after the near divorce. That's wonderful. You must have really missed it as well.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, those first few weeks when you're not doing it is amazing.
Yeah.
And then you get that pang. Then you get like, oh, nothing's come out, and the stats it's all stagnated. And you know, it's like, oh man, I love like getting up every morning and seeing like someone in Japan's like downloading every single episode that we've ever done and things like that. It made my day that day, like knowing that someone's listening to us rant on about nothing and everything. So yeah, I don't know. I miss that aspect of it, but most of all, I just miss my mate. Just miss hanging out and like having a chat, which is what we always try to do. It turns out we upset quite a few bands because like people think it's over now. So a few people have contacted me and said, "Oh yeah, it was like upsetting when you like dissed our band or whatever." I'm like, "Oh, sorry," like because obviously these things do affect people, and you're just ranting about how shit the new Virus album is, and then Coke would be like, "Oh fuck, I thought it was amazing." Like, you know. So
hang on, I never said that. Fucking trying to get me in trouble.
No. But you know what I mean? I've done a review before when I was a journalist. I don't know if I told you this before. I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to say it again. And like, there was this girl, this woman that used to be in a band, all girl band, and she did a solo album. And I just slated it. I just said, this is utter trash for children. And then when the website came out and it was released and everything, it was like, didn't hear anything back. And I was quite happy with it because like, I went back and I thought, yeah, that's right. But then I did a thing of like, I put on my page and tagged her, like all my reviews, just to say, oh yeah, this is what I've been up to this month sort of thing. And obviously that's when she's like, and you've tagged me. And it was like an utter thing. And she got back to me and she just said like thanks for that. You're a total cunt. And I was like, do you know what? I have been a total cunt here. Like, even though like I honestly did not like that record. Honestly, I could have just seen some positive, or I could have just not done it. You know, I could have just left that review out. But no, I didn't. I had to like feed my own ego and put a 1 out of 10 review on this. And that's sort of something I do think about. But obviously with this Different Times podcast, because there's no script, we just have titles of records.
Yeah.
We just go into it, and yeah, it does upset people. Like, and I must admit, like when it happened to us, because we've had, believe it or not, like a couple of bad reviews, it just washed off me. Didn't think anything of it, but it really does affect like some people if you're not made, I guess, a bit tougher stuff.
Yeah, I know, and it's weird. I mean, well, you know, I got slagged off in Kerrang when I was 19. So yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah,
record company said it's one person's opinion. That's it. You know, that's it. That's all it ever is. It's one person's opinion. Are you there?
I am there. And I'm thinking about that because with something like Kerrang, that's too important. It's too important to say it's just one person's opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That is make or break for some bands. Like,
well, that was my response. My response was like, well, it's just one person's opinion. It's like it's one person's opinion printed in the biggest heavy metal weekly magazine in the world. You know?
Yeah, and do you know what? I remember reading that, and I still bought it, so it didn't affect me.
Oh, cheers, mate.
It's really, isn't that weird? Yeah, I'm just thinking of this now, like, as just saying it, but it didn't affect me in any way. Like, I still bought it, so maybe it is. What do we know? We don't know how
Yeah.
the human psyche works.
Okay. Do you know what? That's a brilliant place to leave it for now, because I've got some subscriber questions. But that's brought us all right back to the beginning, where with the two fucking idiot chuckleheads that were at the beginning of this podcast, and we've just spent an hour talking about nothing and coming to the conclusion that we know nothing.
Brilliant. I'm happy with that.
Me too. Cheers, mate.
Bye.
No, don't go anywhere. And at that point, he stayed for another 30, 40 minutes, and we did a load of Patreon questions, which was great. And of course, right at the beginning of that interview, I said that I would have already told the listeners about what had been going on. Basically, we tried to do that interview about a fortnight previously, and we were basically he was WhatsApping me, just saying, "Oh no, my stuff's broken, it won't work properly." So we had to wait 2 weeks until he upgraded his phone. And then we got to do the interview. But it was certainly worth the wait, wasn't it, kids? That was fun. Oh, sorry, excuse me. That was fun, wasn't it? Really, really cool guy. And he's been through so much with the band. You know, an album in a pandemic, the label all going nuts up. And it's just... Well, yeah, you know, we're all going through bizarre times at the moment, some more bizarre than others. Is it me, right? Or do you occasionally bump into somebody who, well, not occasionally, but yeah, just know a few people who have jobs that are, where they're key workers, where their lives haven't really changed during this whole pandemic. You know, and I'm sure some of you are listening now as well and are going like, well, yeah, you know, just gone to work as normal, and it hasn't been like for me, and it must be such a fucking wind up if you've been working all the way through the pandemic, when you then see people who haven't, and they're saying like, oh well, actually, you know, it's been a benefit, I've been able to reset my life and spend time with the kids and blah blah. And if you're a key worker, when you hear all that stuff, it must make you want to fucking tear your eyes out. So if you are a key worker and you're listening to this, do you know what? Hang on a second. Here we go. Okay, that's whether you work for the NHS, fucking Tesco's, Esso, whatever it is, whatever you've been doing, whatever, you know, you're contributing, thank you. And apologies that you didn't get the massive holiday that the rest of us got, but there you go, hey. Oh dear. Well, I mean, when are things going to get back to any kind of normal? Who fucking knows? That's not for us or me to speculate on. And someone else who's doing some speculating recently is friend of the podcast, our old mate. Yep, that's right. It's Gene Simmons. Now, the headline of the article was, "The record industry is dead for new artists." Yes, that's right. It's another inspirational, motivational chat for upcoming bands with Gene Simmons. The record industry is dead for new artists. Do you? And he said, "I've said this 10 years ago when streaming, downloading, all that stuff was for free. Radiohead, it bears noting, tried to do a brand new record and said their fans, pay whatever you will. It's interesting to note that it hasn't been done since, because it doesn't work. If you leave doors open in a supermarket and say, pay whatever you want, people just go ahead and pay nothing. But it doesn't work because people would rather get stuff for free." Well, that's a long way around of going, people would rather get stuff for free, which, to be fair, Gene, I think we're all aware of that. He says his heart goes out to new bands and all the rest of it. But it just, I don't know, when I read things like that, I just think, and I try not to be that guy. I mean, I'm 50 years old, for fuck's sake, and I try not to be that guy. I try not to be the one who's saying in interviews, oh, well, so, you know, because if you're me and you remember the industry how it was, then yeah, of course it comes across as being completely fucked. But that doesn't, you know, what you don't need as upcoming aspiring artists, what you don't need is artists who've made it making statements like that and making it sound like they're kind of, you know, pulling up the drawbridge, and it's like, you know, oh yeah, you're fucked. Yeah, that's it. See you later. There's got to be a way forward. People are always going to want music. Look, no one would have ever been able to predict that this is where we'd be 10 years ago. Where will we be in another 10 years? I have no idea. It's impossible to fathom. But there you go. Anyway, look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there's no boys and girls listening to this, is there? Well, whoever's listening to this out there, thank you very much, wherever you are, whatever you do, I really appreciate it. There is going to be a slight change in your podcast player, you'll notice in future weeks. The boys at All About the Rock are still involved with the podcast, but they're not going to be hosting it anymore, although this still will, I'll still be crediting All About the Rock and it'll still be appearing on their website. But I'm moving to a new podcast provider. Now, you will see in future editions in your podcast player, the Talking Bollocks podcast will have a little button that will say support the podcast or access to Patreon, and you'll be able to you'll just be able to tap that button in your podcast player and it'll take you straight to Patreon and you can sign up and give me money. Yay! I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible for you. I mean, look, I'll completely level with you, right? At the moment, I'm more of a podcaster than I am a stand-up comedian, than I am a singer in a band, than I am anything else that I do. I'm probably doing more podcasting than anything else, and it's because, obviously, everything else is fucking live performance and it's not happening. So I'm doing as much as I can to make this podcast pay. And when I say pay, I mean help pay my bills. I don't mean yeah, great, I'm earning millions off this. Well, obviously I'm not. No one earns millions off a podcast unless your name's Joe Rogan. What the fuck is that about? But anyway, in case you don't know, Spotify paid him millions to go over and do his podcast exclusively for them. Not about to happen to me at any time soon or in the next, well, actually it's never going to happen, but I am doing my best, and any support you can give me, and when I say any support, I mean saying to one person, check out Talking Bollocks. They might not like it, they may hate it, but just sharing, or as they say on the Peter Crouch podcast, because that was passed to me, pass the pod. Just pass the pod to one person. That would be really, really cool, especially at the moment because there's so many podcasts out there, and loads of new podcasts come online from people who decided they want to do a podcast in lockdown, thinking it'd be fucking brilliant. Oh, and podcasting's easy, is it? Well, I mean, yeah, if you listen to this, you must think, well, fucking hell, how hard can it be? Just get a mic and just talk like an absolute dickhead for 20 minutes and you should be fine. And frankly, that's what I do. Are you enjoying it? Great, because it's Dickhead Central right here. Hello, Dickhead here. Head of the Dicks, which reminds me, there's a brilliant song on the Hell album, Joris, right? And it's called Dickheads for Life. Check it out. It's the reason I say it is because the chorus has to be it is surely a tribute to Judas Priest, and I don't mean that they're saying Judas Priest are dickheads. I'm saying musically it's a tribute. Just go and fucking listen to it, okay? The Hell from the album Joris, Dickheads for Life. There we go. How about I actually finish the podcast on me recommending you some music instead of just talking for no fucking reason at all and you wondering why you're still listening. So support the podcast if you can, and by that I mean tell people about it. If you want to sign up at Patreon, that would be great. Going to make it as easy as possible for you to do that. But in the meantime, if you can be bothered to put into a browser patreon.com/Howard H. Smith and sign up, that would be great. There's over 300 posts. There's 3 years worth of content that you can download. There's loads of stuff in there. You'll get loads of exclusives with Sean Killian from Violence, with Max Cavaliera, with Fish. I mean, look, seriously, there's been some names on this show, and there's loads of content waiting there for you. Anyway, look, I've gone off on about that enough, and I do apologise. I don't want to be, I am very much sort of will talk for food, which is pretty much the slogan of my life at the moment. But look, I really appreciate you guys listening to the podcast, helping me out where you can. It is awesome. It really is, and don't think I don't appreciate it. I do. I appreciate it now more than ever in these strange times we're in, where the podcast is pretty much the only thing that is the constant in my life, because the comedy and the music has all gone to fucking hell. And check out the Motorcast. I've really enjoyed doing that. I mean, I have said some pretty shitty things about Motorhead in the past, and about Lemmy. Look, I'll own those things. I was wrong. I was so wrong, and to be honest, I feel like a bit of a dickhead now, because they're just doing that podcast has been so much fun. There's loads of great interviews to come, and to be honest, it's really made me miss Lemmy. Everybody has just got such nice things to say about him. And I managed to speak to people who knew him really, 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 really well, including a lifelong friend. And I really, really miss him. And I've got to say, I can't believe I'm leaving this to the end of the podcast. A couple of days ago, I found out that Mark Elly Etherington, former guitarist with UK thrash metal band DAM, passed away. Now, he was in DAM when they supported us on the Obnoxious tour in 1990. We used to play football every day. Yeah, I know, because we were young, we could still do that and play a gig, right? So we used to play football every day. We used to have such a laugh. Elly had an amazing ability to draw cartoons. The Plymouth gig, we blew up the PA. When we came into the dressing room, Elly had drawn a cartoon on the wall of all of us and written a little... it was something, we came to Plymouth to play, but something blah blah blah, and we blew up the bloody PA, which was really funny. Anyway, that cartoon we asked him to do again, which he then did a brilliant cartoon of us all, which turned into a t-shirt for the Jokes on Us t-shirt that we did. And he was a lovely, lovely, lovely guy. Such warm memories of him. And it's really kind of knocked me back, because he's the first person of our age that I've lost in a band that I knew, and it really, really knocked me. And I went onto Facebook, and anyway, I was digging around and I found him on Facebook. I sent him a friend's request, which I know is going to sound really weird, but I kind of want to stay in touch with whoever's looking after his page and see what happened. But what really, really hit me more than anything was when I went to that page and I saw that he lived in London, and which is where I live, and that he was he'd been self-employed since 2015. I've been self-employed since 2017, and that he was a full-time musician. And I'm so pleased for him, but I just can't believe that. I mean, straight away I was like, oh man, we've got so much in common, all that shared history. And he lived in London as well, and I never knew. And that just compounded the feeling of, oh no, really? So I guess the lesson to be learned is, anyone out there that you vaguely want to stay in touch with, make the effort and make sure you do, because you've no idea where they may be. They may be living down the road from you, and it's too late to find out about them once they've passed away. Well, we already knew that anyway, but so my heart goes out to Elly, his family, to the guys in DAM as well. He was a lovely, lovely, lovely guy. Such great memories of him, and really, really made me just think about all those wonderful past days, and what a shame it is. So there you go. Anyway, guys, look, sorry to leave you on a bit of a downer, but it's real life. That's what happens, people come and people go. I'm just going to say something really glib and rubbish now, so I'm not going to do that, and I'm just going to say, wherever you are, take care of yourself, wear a mask, use hand sanitizer, don't be a dick, and take care. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are at work, it is great to be in